everybody. Welcome to the South Australian Sports Show. Great to have your company again for 2022. Plenty of sport to talk about. Lots coming up today on the show, tonight on the show, as I welcome my co-host, Barry Curtin. Baz, how are you?
Good, mate. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Hey, look, I want to get off on a good note, but disappointing. It's just been a tough couple of months for cricket, mate. The loss of Shane Warne, the loss of Rodney Marsh. Now, condolences to their family.
Absolutely,
and It's just been a really difficult time, hasn't it?
It's been a difficult probably 12 months, Phil, really, because if you can throw probably Ashley Mallett and also Eric Freeman into that mix as well as the cricketers that have left us, but a very, very sad time. And really, it's like a shock, isn't it? It's not. It's not like, oh, well, you know, he was 150, so he, you know,
52.
Whatever. Yeah, these guys were, you know, it was a shock. It was a shock to the system.
Mate, I want to ask you about this, though. Rodney Marsh in his time, he was a bit of a larrikin and a bit of a character and a fun guy. And Warney sort of became the new model of Rodney Marsh in a different way. You know, where they drew people. People loved them because they were a bit of a larrikin, a bit of a lovable. And Warney different to Marshy, but they kind of had that same bit of cheekiness about them, didn't they?
Totally misunderstood guy, Warney.
I agree.
And I love Warney. I work with Warney quite a bit and whatever, but people misunderstand him. And I'll give you an example here. If you remember the old grandstand at Adelaide Oval, you had that little tunnel underneath the old Bradman stand, and you had the green mound on the right-hand side. This is at the southern end there. During a break in, we were working for Pay TV, calling the cricket. We went down because we both, back in the time, had a cigarette. And we went underneath the stand there and watched the cricket through there and just had a cigarette. Now, we were due to go back up. I turned to go. He went that way. And I said, Warney, don't go out there, mate. You'll get absolutely mobbed because people know who you are. Like, you know, he just kept walking. And, of course, bang, there was a million kids there. And he stood there for about 15 minutes signing autographs. When he came back up, I said to him, I told you would get caught. He said, I didn't get caught. That's the only time I will get to do that, so I make time for the kids. Now, I can tell you from experience, there's not a lot of cricketers at that level would do that. Yeah. They would shun that. They would keep away from that. He sorted out to sign for the kids. Now, that's Warney. And let me tell you something else about Shane Warne. He was a fantastic tennis player. I took him to a local, a fellow who lives at Glenelg, who had his own court and spa and bar and all that sort of thing in the backyard for a game of tennis because Warney said he likes tennis. Now, I like to think that I can play a little bit of tennis and whatever, so I thought, here's my chance to beat Warney. No problem.
Kidding yourself.
6-0, but he played like I've never seen before. I'd never played against a player with that ability. I just think that he could, anything he picked up, he could do. He was a larrikin, yes, but he was a terrific guy. He was a really great bloke with the punters.
It's the same thing is that when someone passes, we always hear the good things that they've done. We never hear about them through that time. And all this stuff is starting to come out about Warney away from the larrikin, how he was great with people, great with kids, and from Ed Sheeran down to a kid who's 10 years old, always equal time with all of them.
No problem.
So,
no problem, mate.
It's always sad when you lose those.
To me, he was always a little bit misunderstood. And it's easier for me because you know the guy and you work with him and whatever, but it always used to get me when people say, oh, no, Warne, you know, he doesn't care, he's a fat pig, he's done this, he hasn't done that, he won't do this.
Always
he smokes, you know, but he was always there. And any time you ask that guy to do something, he would do it. He owed me a show, actually, because he was booked to go to work at Port Adelaide Football Club at a luncheon, which I'd sold out, 550 people. Sold out, beautiful, waiting for Warney. And the week that he was due to appear at the club was the week he got involved in the texting, whatever, and he left the country. Right. He left me there with 550 people and no warning.
Well, good luck making a phone call now and getting him to turn up, mate. So if you can get it to him, I'm sure he'll turn up. It should be your best sellout ever, mate. It'll be a ripper.
Look, I just think he misunderstood it, and a very, very sad day for Australia when we lost him.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, mate. The supercars. So obviously Labor get in. One of their election promises was that we will have the supercars back here. Now, December 1 and 4 were the dates that were penciled in for the supercar. Now, understand that a lot of the infrastructure was sold off.
Yes.
So it's not like we suddenly go, we're good to go. They'll have a meeting next week and start prelim talks, I would imagine. So it's an election promise that has to be held.
Has to
There's
be held,
no
yeah.
get out of jail card with this one.
No.
So you would think
Yeah.
that they may have to go to Tailem Bend for this one,
Yeah.
because the facilities are already there,
Yeah.
or will they have time to restructure and get it set up in the city?
Just what I heard this morning, that they're making a comment now that they're unsure about Victoria Park.
Well,
So it's a little hint. It's a little hint.
Okay.
Saying that they're unsure. It may have to be on the streets of Adelaide somewhere else. Well, that won't happen.
No.
I don't think that can happen at all, because Victoria Park was the perfect spot.
Well, that's where you want it.
Now,
The
I know
hotels, the families, everything's geared around
exactly,
that.
and I know the Bend.
Yep.
And I know it's only early because the government of the time now wouldn't have had time to speak to anybody about this, but I know that the Bend have said that if it did happen to go that way,
Yep.
they're ready.
Yes.
They'd be ready. So I'm not sure what he's going to do here. This is going to be a tricky one, because that was very, very popular, the Vic Park.
Absolutely,
You know, one of the best events. Drivers, everybody loved it.
The big bands
except
in.
the people that lived over the road. You know,
Nearby.
they didn't like it too much.
Yep.
But it was a very popular event, and I think that might have hurt the government at the time by getting rid of it. But
No doubt.
because it was a massive event,
Yep.
and well supported and made a lot of money. Contrary to what they said, it made a lot of money for the state.
Right.
It brought a lot of cash in. So I don't know what they're going to do here, mate. It's a tricky one. But when you've got a complex like the Bend,
Yes.
you'd think, well, you know.
I'm thinking the sell nearly has to be, we're going to go to the Bend this year, and then we'll be back in the city after that.
Okay.
I don't think you could now go with,
You don't think he's got time?
we can't set it up in Adelaide this year, so we'll be having it the following year. I don't think the
I don't think
fans
you can,
that voted
mate.
would be happy with that. I think they'll be disappointed that it wouldn't be in the city.
Yeah.
But I think they'd accept it being at Tailem Bend, which is
Yes.
a phenomenal venue and
it's
a great
great
course.
place, yeah, it's a great
Of course,
place.
most people that live in Adelaide will say, we want it here, don't have to travel to Tailem Bend. I
Yeah,
get
that's
that,
right,
but
that's right.
40 minutes up the road is not too hard to,
No, and I think
to
that
get to it.
I think the Bend eventually will have dedicated travel to Tailem Bend anyway from the city.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're big enough now to be able to do that. Okay. I mean, I don't know why we haven't got a railway line going through there somewhere, but they will manage that. I don't think that's an issue. I think they'll just say, okay, free buses, bang, here you go.
Yeah, well, you know I'm a big fan of the Bend, mate, so no doubt
absolutely.
about that for me. Let's have a quick chat about the footy, of course, mate. The Crows losing by a punch there.
Yeah. Bad
There
luck,
seem
that.
to be, there's a mixed feeling on, oh, well, it's not too bad. Are we getting a bit complacent in that we're
Don't say
accepting
that.
losses?
Yeah, don't say that.
No, do you feel that, though?
No, I know.
I'm not
Yeah, I
suggesting,
do,
I'm
I
saying, do
do.
you feel that?
I do, because I believe, well, I'm not a great fan of our media, but to be honest, but because they seem never to really punch the Crows if they do play badly.
Right.
It's always brave Crows go down fighting, which was the heading in this one.
Yeah.
And it was. They were pretty brave. They did all right. They did okay.
Came back at them.
They did come back at them. That's right. But they lost. So it's a bit like Ports. People are saying, "Oh, you wouldn't." As a Port supporter, you wouldn't be too unhappy about the loss in Brisbane. 11-point loss, pretty good.
One's 11.
Well,
Is there any difference between... So Port lose to Brisbane by 11 points, Crows lose to Freo by 1 point. I know 10 points is the obvious answer, but a loss is a loss.
A loss, yeah. Especially when you're in a position to win it.
Yes.
Where Port were 16, 20, nearly 20 points up in that third quarter, playing well. They ran out of rotations, Port. That was simple, but they lost the game. Adelaide came back, hit the front, couple of goals up with only a few minutes to go, and they lost.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I think both sides paid the price for turning the football over. They both paid their ultimate price at the end. I mean, I know the Crows were leading with not very long to go, turned it over, bang, Freo goal, and then Freo held on, which was terrific for them, but a heartbreak, coach killer for Matty Nix in the box. Absolute coach killer, the turnover. Now, if you sat and watched Port's game, you would say the same thing. Whoa, turnover, bad turnover, bad. Brisbane were not as, they were the same, I must admit, they turned it over a bit too. But they can kill you. And in Adelaide's case, it cost them the game in the end, but probably their first half cost them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see it a little
They're a
differently.
loss, Phil,
we
it's a
always
loss.
remember the last few minutes of the game.
Yeah, you
so
do.
coming from the coaching standpoint, I've always been big on, let's have a look at the whole game.
Yep.
So we had 3 or 4 turnovers in the first quarter, hypothetically, and a couple in the second. Gee, we could have been up by 30 points instead of 10, and so now we're out of touch.
Yeah.
So, yes, those are killers in the last couple of minutes, but go back and go, gee, we gave away a 50-metre penalty that led to a goal. They're the ones that kill you. It's over the course of the game where it happens. So, although we admire the fight back and we're up and winning, we need to find out what happened that we didn't put it away when we had the opportunity.
Well,
I think they're the questions that you need to get asked. Big couple of games this weekend, of course.
Massive.
What are you thinking?
With our sides, the teams.
Crows v Collingwood?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't want to lose Sloane.
No.
I don't think they need to lose Sloane.
Right.
They got no Walker. Don't lose Sloane. And he's already out for a week. Whether they go to the tribunal or not, we don't know. Porter playing Hawthorn. The injury list down at Alberton isn't as bad as what... they got banged up, no doubts at all. But I think the only one that could miss now is Aaliyah. I think the others that look bad, Dersma and Mackenzie and Robbie Gray and Rosie, and this is why they run out of rotations. The word from Alberton is that they could play.
All right, so if we quickly talk on the Crows, they play Collingwood at the MCG, off to a good start under the new coach, got away to a beauty, 25-point winners, of course, over St Kilda. And then you go, do they come in feeling pretty good about themselves? I say yes.
Collingwood?
Yep, absolutely they do. Hawthorn got over North Melbourne by about 20. I don't think that gives you quite the same feel as Collingwood over St Kilda.
I think they went overboard in their post-match
celebration.
Did you see it?
Yes.
It was the whole club was in there.
Yeah.
It's round one, and they beat North Melbourne. Give me a break. They did. They were all in there around the huddle. They were all in there singing the song.
Well, it's a bit like Carlton, get that great win for Vossi, and of course we're really happy because he's a ripper. Vossi learned all his stuff at Port Adelaide, as you know, and you go, they're talking about they're in the grand final.
Exactly
so we're one game
round
in.
one.
Anyway, we're off and running. We're at round one. Stay with us. Plenty coming up on the show.
Thank you, guys. It's good to be back. We witnessed a nail-biter last Sunday as Fremantle took on the Crows at Adelaide Oval. It was a narrow finish, with Freo emerging victorious by 1 point. This was partly thanks to Heath Chapman, who prevented the Crows from scoring in the last 15 seconds, getting his fist to the ball on the goal line. However, it wasn't all sad news, as Adelaide's newest draftee, Josh Rochelle, managed to kick 5 big ones in his AFL debut. Jimmy Rowe and Luke Brown were a couple of our other standouts, as Fremantle's Jordan Clark managed to gather 20 disposals, 6 inside 50s and a goal after his club transition from Geelong. Port Adelaide unfortunately weren't so successful in their clash against Brisbane. Having won 8 out of 9 season openers since 2013, their winning streak came to an end. The boys in teal couldn't quite make it work, scoring 69 points to the Brisbane Lions 80. Despite a hard-fought lead by the Power in the third quarter, the Lions put up a brutal performance to bring it back throughout the fourth. Robbie Gray suffered a knee injury, and Connor Rosie and Aaliyah had ankle troubles. Coach Hinkley was reluctant to pin the team's performance on injuries, but did say that they had an impact on the match result. It was also exciting seeing some of SA's finest recruits in action throughout the AFL's Round 1 matches. Riding the high of their Woodville West premiership, Jack Hayes played well for St Kilda, as did Tyson Stengel for Geelong. Hayes managed to nail 3 goals against Collingwood, as Stengel scored 4 in a 66-point win over Essendon. Port Adelaide's Jackson Mead and Essendon's Kane Baldwin also played promising games, having finally healed from their previous injuries. Straight out of South Adelaide, Jason Horne-Francis racked up 13 disposals, 3 marks, 3 tackles and a goal for North Melbourne. In other news, with the election of Labor comes the exciting return of the V8 Supercars Adelaide 500. Earlier this year, Peter Malinauskas said he would revive the event if he won the state election. The new premier has penciled in early December for the race, which will serve as a major finale to the Supercars season, following the Bathurst 1000 and the Gold Coast 600. A meeting is being planned between Supercars and the government to start organising what has historically been known by many as one of South Australia's greatest motorsport events. In SA Premier Cricket, West Torrens have earned themselves their second title for the season, securing a strong win against Tea Tree Gully. Having defeated Glenelg last month in the one-day grand final, the Eagles were ready to take on the Bulls. Working hard to help put up a total of 281 runs to Tea Tree Gully's 188, captain Daniel Drew ran 43 and Warren Peters put up 65. Ryan Gibson was especially determined, managing to acquire 103 runs while playing through the challenge of a broken thumb. Coach of the Eagles, Mark Harrity, addressed their victory in great sportsmanship, attributing the team's great success to the chemistry of the players. That's all we've got for you this week. I'm Jamie Tenikoff. We've got more on the way after the break.